Reclaiming Timeless Ways, Mike Traster, the one and only, and me,
Thank God, right?
the mentor and the mentee,
No.
following off last week.
We keep switching roles.
Next episode that we're going to dial into, the topic that we're diving in is...
The price of group approval,
Ooh,
yes.
and that's something we've all experienced, AKA peer pressure. First thing that pops into my head as you bring that up is I've got two youngsters, 12 and 10, and they're approaching that age. And this doesn't just happen in kids, by the way. I mean, it still happens in adults and different, but it starts at that age, If you want to be part of our group, here's what we do. And so, are you willing to bend, to negotiate who you are, your core values, to join that group, or do you say, piss off? I don't want to be in this group.
Right.
And as we get older, those groups, I think, get more dangerous.
Ooh, do they ever?
But, no, that's the first thing that pops into my head is my kids. And wasn't long ago, I had a conversation. Gosh, I hope you guys are always kind, always loving. Things are going to happen. You see somebody bullying, picking on this, that. I just hope you don't participate, because I know how kids are, and that's where it all starts. Here's the cool crew picking on or making fun of. Do you stand up and say, hey, guys, knock it off? Or do you pile it on and for acceptance?
Right.
And if you do that younger, you'll keep doing it. I mean, it's
It's automatic.
yeah, habit forming.
I've heard teachers say that junior high is the most brutal area to teach in.
I believe it. I mean, that's when all the hormones are kicking in and all the groups and the cliques and the, all those little, when you're young, well, there's a playground or there's a ball, let's do something fun. That's all they care about.
Right.
They don't care about what clothes are
Yeah,
being
they're
wore or
like
what
puppies.
mom and dad does for a living or
Right.
what vehicle they got dropped off in or all that crap that really doesn't matter, but eventually they've seen enough commercials on TV and watched enough crap to poison their mind to believing that to be something, you have to have these things.
Right.
They don't know yet. They don't know any better. And isn't that a great stage? And by the time you get to junior high, you're aware. Oh, look at that versus those shoes versus those. Huh. Doesn't make a bit of difference who that kid is, but it does all of a sudden because commercials and other things have told us so, or famous people have told us so, or maybe mom and dad have told us. I mean, not necessarily always, but
Yeah.
and then you got hormones to boot. Oh man, you couldn't pay me enough, Mike, to be a junior high teacher.
There was a guy named Billy Blesser, and I'll never forget, my dad brought me to introduce me to him once, and they were friends when he was a kid. And his mother said, I don't want you around that boy Billy Blesser. He goes, why? She says, he's bad. He's bad news, bad influence. She's Russian, right? He goes, he's a bad boy. Nothing good's going to come from him. Billy was a rocket engineer. So I guess Grandma called that one wrong.
He turned something around.
Yeah.
Grandma saw something in him once upon a time, but he turned something around.
Big time. Big time. So, I talked to him a little bit, and I got dizzy listening to him talk about how complicated that all was.
Yeah.
But I can remember even in probably the 6th grade, there was a lot of posturing.
That's the age my son, or the grade my son's in right now.
Okay.
And you start noticing little things as a parent.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, what kind of shoes are you wearing?
Yeah,
Right? Who makes your shirt?
yeah,
You're like, wow, they're getting nasty,
yeah, yeah.
And, or just pitching absolute volcanic shit fits.
Yeah.
I can't wear that. They'll laugh at me.
Yeah,
Right? It's just a brand. It doesn't have a brand name on it. They have to have it.
Yeah.
Who the hell can afford $200 for a pair of kids' sneakers
yeah.
that are going to be
They're gonna burn, I was just gonna say, they're gonna burn holes through them in 4 months, 3 months.
I know, and it's like, this isn't going to last you 4 years. It's
Right.
like, yeah, right. It's it's damaged on day 2.
And/or you grow out of them, one or the other.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, that giant,
If they somehow do last,
this is my son, his name is Bigfoot,
yeah.
you know.
But no, Mike, you see that even in adult situations where, if you want to be in this group, and a lot of it seems to, and not exclusively, but a lot of it seems to tie to what you have or don't have,
Absolutely.
which has nothing to do with what makes up a person. And
No.
that's a dangerous path to go down. And I'll even say there are probably times in my life where I somewhat, I don't want to say believed it, but like you're weaving, like it's told to us all the time. It's marketed to us. Why do we have celebrities wearing this, promoting this, pushing this, doing this? It's like subconsciously pounded in us. It is.
You know, I've been looking, I like to look at subliminals a lot, because they're all over the place. And if you wake up for a moment, you go, what the hell is it that people like about this person anyway? Then sometimes you'll see, like for example, there's a very famous woman singer. She's in the news all the time. And she's like a child whore. And it's like when you look at her, you're like, oh boy, she's got the most exquisitely sweet, innocent looking eyes. But her mannerisms are the mannerisms of a prostitute,
Yeah.
you know? And you're like, that is one mind rape of a message. What are they saying to these young boys to look for? And what are they saying to these young girls to be?
Right.
You're not okay unless you've got baby eyes and you're selling it to the highest bidder on the street.
Yeah.
Literally, right? And I mean the mannerisms
Right.
that this person goes through. I'm no innocent by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, you know, she is a horrendous example.
Yeah.
For a young boy or a young girl. You know.
You know, it's kind of the question that it might beg is, on a similar mindset, there was a friend of my wife and I, we have a friend, and she was dating, and anyway, it went south, and the guy had made some poor choices, you know, chose not to be faithful, and basically they had a conversation, and that goes both ways.
Right.
And the question she posed him when she learned of it was, be someone you would want your daughter to date one day.
Exactly.
And you could flip that script both ways.
Right.
And so when you put it into that perspective, you kind of, in an earlier show, you were talking about that with the smoking and the drugs and the things, you know, it puts it in a different perspective in a person's brain when you think, if you have a son or daughter, how would you want them to be? Who would you want them to be with, like, and no different than the role model you were referencing. Is that somebody you would want? What if that was your daughter, what would you be thinking right now? So don't let your daughter think that's okay, or your son think that that's what he should be looking for.
Right. So, you know, one of the first clues about,
And our society does it a lot.
one of the first clues about how worthwhile or worthless an answer is how quick you get it
Yeah.
and how passionate it is.
Yeah.
If you say to someone, would you want your daughter dating somebody like him? And they go, well, I don't know, maybe, I guess that's a bullshit answer.
No.
If you say to somebody, would you like your kid to date them? Do you think their manners are legitimate
Right.
or put up? Put up! Oh, it's explosive. He knows that guy's full of crap, right? He's gonna use his kid and dump her, right? Or a woman might go, would you like your son to, you know, date that girl? Yeah, she's a sweet girl. Or, are you out of your mind?
Right.
Instantly, right? They know, right? So that's one of the things you want is, do you trust that doctor? Well, he knows a lot. That's a bullshit answer. Do you trust him?
Right.
Right? That's a different question.
Right.
He he diverted away from the answer,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So his answer is not reliable,
Sure.
right? So like in church, one of my favorite pounding grounds, what kind of behaviors are you seeing among them? How are the perpetual junior high schoolers behaving?
Right.
Because unless we see the program and the programming and we consciously break out, we become perpetual junior high schoolers.
Yeah.
Not maybe, we do. That's where we stay forever, you know? And if you don't believe it, look at the way people dress, look at how they focus on their bicycle, their motorcycle, their car, the overt expression of their sexuality. What are they proud of? Do they have healthy shame?
Right.
Or do they lack healthy shame? What is healthy shame? What is it?
Well, I'm gonna assume that, I mean, just the two words, healthy shame, so you can kind of look at yourself and, I guess give an honest opinion back of what maybe isn't so good about yourself, looking in the mirror, so to speak.
Right, right. I did that and it was wrong.
Yeah.
I was a son of a bitch. I had no right to bully that
Right.
person or take advantage or shame them, right?
A little accountability would maybe be the word,
Bingo.
you
That's
know,
it.
and being
That's
able to
exactly
get better from that.
Right.
I do know people who are unable, or unwilling, maybe is the better word, to just look and say, you had a piece in that mistake. No, his fault.
Yeah.
No,
Right.
you made me do it because you made me angry.
Right.
Wait,
Yeah, right.
but I still had a choice to get angry in how I reacted.
Right.
I have that conversation with my daughter often. You made me mad.
Right.
That's why I said that, Dad.
Right.
Hey, maybe I did, but you had a choice in what you did.
And there's a segue. So in feminism, which I detest, I think feminism is an open sewer. When girls teach each other, or when women teach girls to have zero accountability because that's a sign of oppression,
Yeah.
they're teaching them to be moral garbage.
And that goes beyond just feminism anymore.
Absolutely.
I see groups and pods of people that's almost the easy way out. You know, wait a second. You don't believe, I mean, there's just so much sensitivity and whatever, and all of a sudden it's easy to turn you into the bad guy for
Right.
not aligning with whatever that belief system
Right.
is.
So if you work for a company,
And that's terrible.
if you work for a construction company and the word is go along to get along,
Yeah,
and you see something seriously dangerous in a crane,
yeah.
are you gonna shut up and get along?
Right.
What's gonna happen?
Yeah, what's the consequence potentially
Right,
of
what's
that?
the price?
Potentially a life.
Right, yeah.
Are you okay with that? Are you willing to bend,
Right.
to get along,
Right. You're gonna go to that person's funeral?
to not, what did you say in one of our shows earlier?
Stir up the shit?
I mean, we shouldn't be out,
He made me say that
we
word.
shouldn't be out there looking for it.
No.
But when it's there, it's absolutely our duty and responsibility to call it out.
Yes. Absolutely.
You know, that's our accountability to one another. You know, the word accountability oftentimes is referred to more singularly, you know. Should be held accountable, but we're also accountable for one another to an extent. Are we not?
We absolutely are. So like, for example, I was thinking about this yesterday. Teaching parents that it is never all right to spank a child. First of all, that's insane,
Right.
right? There's a difference. There's a massive difference, like as wide as the Pacific Ocean, between a spanking and
And a beating, absolutely.
Bingo. How the hell did we both have that
Well,
same
big-
word at the same instant?
I knew right where you were going.
Right? So, I'm gonna share a story with you. This woman gets home, she's by herself, she's got her kid with her, and her kid is strong and strong-willed, and one of these kids that moves explosively.
Okay.
So they're getting back from the store, so she's got a couple of bags of groceries, and she's got a hold of her kid's hand. And the kid wrenches violently away from her and goes running out into the street, right in front of a truck. So she throws the bags down, I guess they drop them on the street, and runs after her, grabs her violently, pulls her away from the truck, and wham! Slams her ass with her hand, right? Puts a hurting on her. Don't you ever do that again. Do you understand what I mean never. It's gonna be worse next time. Do you got it? Okay. What did she just do? Did she abuse that child?
No.
Oh, she protected that child. She loved that child. The way that particular idiot needed loving.
Right,
That child is also a willful idiot and needs protection
right.
in her language.
Right.
Right.
And it is interesting, we had a conversation earlier, and I don't mean to compare people to dogs, but there are some similarities. We were saying, you were kidding about, you've got a thick-headed one
My dog is a nightmare.
you're working on, or he's working on you, or maybe both.
Both.
And I said, I've always loved dogs, had dogs,
Oh,
you
God,
share that too, and I said, you know, I've had some, Emma and Belle are a couple of them that, and I wasn't sitting there hammering them with the shock collar hunting, but if you didn't have that on, there is a risk of them running out in the road or doing something stupid. And then I have some dogs that I could say, oh, get over here, just like that, and they were down, you know,
Right. Submitting.
almost. And so, and kids are no different.
They're no different.
Some can require just some basic
Right.
words, and some.
Some are hyperkinetic and defiant.
Yeah, and that, so, I'm with you. And I
So
think
her-
most people
So
would
here's
agree.
this woman, she's freaked out. She saved her kid
Right,
like a couple of feet from this truck, like a 10, 20,000 pound truck going
Right.
30 miles an hour.
Right.
Would have been dead kid, right? Her neighbor comes out and starts putting her finger in her face and screaming at her.
oh,
You're a child abuser. I'm gonna turn you into the police, right? She's crying. She's afraid she's gonna lose her kid.
right,
First, she almost lost him under the tire of a truck.
Right.
And the bumper. Now she's picturing these lunatics at CPS. Talk about a bunch of criminals. Coming along and punishing her for protecting her child from itself.
right,
Right? So she's terrified. She breaks into tears. She brings the kid in the house, and meanwhile, this idiot leftist fool is very upright, rigid back, pointing at her, fingers like a spear, speaking derisively to her. I have a 2-year-old, and my 2-year-old is perfectly logical.
yeah,
That 2-year-old died under the wheel of a car not too long after that. That's a true story. That was told to me by somebody in the child care industry, a very, very articulate, intelligent, and impeccably honest woman. It was like, wow, that's just beyond words. It's horrible. Little child dead because her parent was too much of a posturing idiot, right? So what is she doing? The price of group approval.
right,
She is acting a certain way because she is enslaved to the liberal narrative, which is a lie. And that is, there's no time and place for physical discipline. There's no time and place for physical abuse. The next lie is, well, they don't know the difference. Bullshit. That's a lie also. Everyone knows the difference.
And you see those circles in politics, in
Yes,
religion,
right.
in, you know, socioeconomic circles.
Right.
And it's really this simple, Mike. What's right is right, what's wrong is wrong, applicable to all. How often do you see somebody, in fact, I was told the story that this was a janitor. I won't get specific in the schools, but Christmas break, they were getting the floors redone in a gymnasium. And so they had all gotten stripped down, all the wax gets stripped down from them first. And so the janitor had put up cones and wrapped it in some sort of like a caution tape, and then put a sign, "Stay off, that means you," in all capitals. And the guy walks up to the janitor and says, "Hey, what's up with that sign?"
Right,
Well, you get some people who think that this doesn't apply to them.
right.
For whatever
I'm
reason,
special.
this rule, so I put in all capitals, that means you. And I thought, that's just a simple way to say, what's right is right, and what's wrong and wrong. It doesn't discriminate on race, color, religion, sex, money, socioeconomic status. What's right? And so when you get in a circle, and all of a sudden you hear, well, we do this because of this. If it's wrong, no matter what the circumstance. And isn't it that simple?
A simple, unchanging standard,
Correct.
right?
How much money you make doesn't change that. Whether you're religious or not doesn't change that. Whether you're Republican or Democrat doesn't change that. Whether you're male or female doesn't change that.
Your Maserati doesn't get an exclusion from the 60-mile-an-hour speed limit.
Correct.
You can't go 80 because you got bigger brakes. You still have to go 60.
Right.
So,
So, isn't it that simple?
it is.
But we don't make it that simple.
No, or you're gonna teach your manipulating children to become sexually perverted by saying, well, maybe you're not really a boy, maybe you were meant to be a girl. That's suggestive manipulation.
Sure.
Right? They're grooming them. It's a crime. That's a crime. It's a crime. If you do that to children, you are a criminal. And time is gonna catch up to you, and you're gonna get prosecuted in time for the crime you're committing against that child's natural innocence.
Yeah.
I can't say that strongly enough.
Yeah.
We're in a time where that group approval bullshit is silencing people to not say, you're a criminal.
Right.
And, oh, you're in the school board, so you're exempt? You're not exempt.
Yeah.
You're a criminal,
Yeah.
right? You belong in prison for that, right? Plain and simple.
Yeah.
Don't tell me what my pronouns are either.
Yeah.
You're not dictating to me my language. There's a word, immutable.
Yeah.
It means unchangeable,
Yeah.
period. What is a size 10 shoe? It's a size 10 shoe.
Right.
You can find it on a ruler.
Right.
It doesn't, the size of an inch doesn't change,
Right.
size of a foot doesn't change, the size of, the meaning of expensive or cheap doesn't change.
Right.
These are, when you start changing the meaning of words,
Right.
you're committing crimes and frauds,
Yeah.
and you're abusing people, you're enslaving people, and you're programming them with intimidation and fear. Imagine, let's say you're one of these word-changing weasels. So the bank comes up to you one day and says, oh, you know what, we changed the meaning of one word in your mortgage. Next month was gonna be your last payment, but fulfilled, we changed that word. It doesn't mean that anymore. It means 80% fulfilled. It used to mean fulfilled,
Right.
but we're more enlightened now.
Right.
So you still owe us 20%.
Right.
Or we'll come and repossess your home. Oh, we just changed the meaning of one word.
Right.
And that whole contract is nulled and voided by a criminal.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
wow.
They're a little late on cue. Comes
Ah,
comes the daughter that we talk all the time about being nice, right?
hello.
Wait, what? Awesome. Where's Noah?
She's with a friend. See, right in the middle of a film. Here she comes. He's going to a 4-H meeting. I'll see you later.
Such a good
I was
baby.
hoping we missed the bus.
I'm gonna have to cut this now
Why?
because we're recording and you came right in.
But you can leave me.
Well, hello, midget. How are you?
Hey, did you let Polly outside?
I'm gonna.
Okay, before she pees and poops in here.
Come here, Polly.
Hey, and then we're gonna go to Tyson's game tonight. What do you mean? You'll find all sorts of friends there to run around with.
I don't know. I just went to Noah's.
What are you making me for supper tonight?
I don't know, as long as I don't get to go. Come on, Benny. What do you want him to stay in there?
Don't matter.
Come here. Come here. Benny. What was it?
So group approval means that we have to be nice.
Yeah.
But the things that we're told to knuckle under are not just not nice.
Yeah.
They're outrageous.
Yeah.
They're absolute outrageous.
What was your phrase? Go along to
To
get
get
along.
along, right.
Terrible.
Horrible idea. It's a nightmare.
Ridiculous.
Right. Right. And you see it in every profession. You see it in nursing and doctoring and teaching and policing. What's an example? I had a cop once tell me, yeah, I was dealing with a civilian. I said, you're not a civilian? I'm a police officer. I said, oh, you're military police? No, I'm civilian police. That makes you a civilian. Oh. Well, somebody else was saying, well, nurses are smarter than doctors. I have 3 words for that.
Yeah.
No, they're not.
Yeah.
They know less. What do you mean? So they've been repeating this thing for so long that where doctors know everything. No, they don't,
Yeah.
right? And it's kind of like, well, we hit these walls where civility takes the place of the decency of truth. That's not civil.
Yeah. Oftentimes, you've compromised, and then it becomes easier to compromise and easier to compromise.
Right.
Once you do it once, the second, third, and fourth all become easier, easier, and easier. And that's really what we're talking about. Don't compromise what you know is right and wrong, who you know you should be, what you learned, what we were taught, for whatever these other groups are saying. They're all over the place, Mike.
Oh, God.
It's everywhere.
It is absolutely everywhere.
There's also a lot of good, and you can be part of that good, and that's the point of this.
Right.
You know, I've run into people that, and you're one of them, that will say, no, you don't have to be an asshole to say you're wrong.
No.
That doesn't make you that. You say, wait a second, that's not right. What do you mean it's not right? Well, there's nothing wrong with saying that. You don't have to go in guns a-blazing. There's a time for that, too.
Right.
Where you come busting down the door and saying, out of here. But most of the time, it's just you bringing attention to a topic, and oftentimes it's the elephant in the room. Everybody knows it. Who's going to be?
I bought a set of tires from Walmart. They were Douglas, all-season radials. I thought, okay, all-season, so they're going to be reliable in all 4 seasons, right? So we're going down the street one day and I see a stop sign of 80 feet or something ahead, so I put the brake on. We go sliding through that stop sign. It's wet out, right? But I'm not going that fast. And I'm like, geez, that was freaky. But I kind of thought, well, maybe there was an oil slick on the road. So then we're going on that back way back from Walmart, just coincidentally, and there's that stop sign before you hit, what is it, 3 or 70?
Yeah.
So I step on the brake about 150, 200 feet with a zing right across the highway. Oh my God, right? By some miracle, there was no truck coming,
Yeah.
right? So I get a hold of Walmart and I tell them, what do you expect us to do about it? Tires are paid for. And I think it was $320 or $30, something like that, with mounting and balancing. So I'm like, you sold me a dangerous product. Tires are very hard, they don't wear, but they're great on dry ground.
Right.
But it's not only dry.
Right.
And it says all-season radial, which means it's supposed to be a functional. So I talked to the manager, and I get this cold shoulder. Talk to somebody else, they're ignoring me, right? Went to 2 or 3 stores. So finally, I got a hold of somebody in corporate. I raised hell. So they took the tires, what did they do? They sent me to Goodyear, and for $200 more, because it was a Goodyear-made tire with an off-brand. So for $200 more, I got a set of very good tires, they're much more reliable. But I had to make a lot of noise, and I was persona non grata for a while. You know? And
Yeah.
I remember even telling a department manager one day, I said, you know, I know you're a department manager and you're told not to talk to me because I raised hell about these tires. I said, you got kids? Yeah. I said, you don't want these tires on your car. They can get you and your kids killed.
Yeah.
Well, I'm busy,
Yeah.
right? So it's like, you know, getting along, going along to get
Yeah.
along.
Can be dangerous, real dangerous.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we hope you took something out of this show. Puff up, get the courage to stand up when you need to.
You have to.
We've all been in the moments, and we're going to face some more. So maybe easier said than done, but give it a try. I think it's pretty satisfying knowing you did the right thing.
Yeah.
So reclaiming timeless ways, that's a big core topic in doing so. Thank you for joining Mike Traster and myself.
Thank you.
Until next time, have a great day.